Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. I am here with Vozhi. What's up, man?
Man, I'm feeling blessed. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, dude. So let's see. You are in real estate, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And also, you used to do some music.
Still do music.
Still do
actually.
music.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Still
what's
do.
how'd you get into music, man? What kind of music?
Like primarily hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
and how I got into it. Like music has always been like a big part of my culture,
Oh,
just in
yeah.
general. You know what I mean? Growing up, both my parents
Right.
are like just huge into music, and my culture and the language that I speak, called Tamil, spelled Tamil, is
Okay.
actually the oldest spoken language in the world.
No way. And
Yeah.
where does that originate from?
It's like, I mean, it originates like from like northeastern Africa to like current parts of like Iran.
And they've like traced
And
this
then,
back. It's like the oldest language.
yeah, like it's
No
connected
way.
to like the Mesopotamia. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Okay,
like
cool.
those civilizations. Anyway, but the people eventually settled around southern India, North Sri Lanka
Okay.
area. Like that's where we're concentrated now. But yeah, it's a Googleable thing. But anyways, like our culture kind of has like poetry like deeply embedded
Yeah.
as a part of the kind of civilization. And there's like a very particular form of music called like Ghana music that's just so similar to hip hop that I've just always been like influenced
Right.
by. And when I moved to America when I was 8 years old, like I was just drawn immediately into hip hop, and that was kind of
Right.
like my
And music is poetry, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, man. So what do you have any kind of like favorite artists that you kind of looked up to or anything growing up or like
There's a lot of artists, like even like outside the hip hop genre, but if we're
Yeah.
talking like within the hip hop genre, I would say artists like Nas, like
Yeah.
Jay-Z, Tupac.
Yeah, I still got like
obviously,
Jay-Z and Nas on my gym playlist for
Oh yeah,
sure,
yeah.
dude.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah, it's the shit. So what where did you grow up? Where'd you go to school? That kind of stuff? Like
Like, so yeah. So after moving to the United States at age 8,
8 years old?
8 years old, yeah.
Yep.
My family moved to Kirkland before it was bougie Kirkland.
Yeah, so
know?
you know the old, because I moved here like 7 years ago, so I don't know any of this, but I hear from people
Okay.
all the time, like how this place used to be so different, and the tech industry's changed it so much and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that over the last 20 plus years of just being in the city. Where'd you move from? I didn't know.
So I'm actually originally from Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I grew up in like Midwest, very small town.
Wow.
Big culture shock
Wow.
moving here, dude. Yeah, and I really love it here. There's like all the people have their different opinions about it. Like
Yeah.
I shared that Ari Matty just did that joke about like and he's like I think Estonian comedian. He does the Kill Tony podcast all the time, and he's hilarious. But he's like, because he's in Texas doing the joke, and he's like, man, I love you Texas people. You just love America. You love you. He's like, the first time I came, I went to Seattle. He's just like, they were all like, he's just like kind of knocking, like, he's like, I don't know. But there is a little bit of that. But I've actually had like a super good experience here because I've been able to meet
Yeah.
like bodybuilding community, you guys, Josh, like this community. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it just depends on which communities you're meeting. There's some cool people here.
Absolutely.
But I get when people like knock the whole like Seattle freeze
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
and everything like
It's
that.
like I can understand where they're coming from.
Right,
You know what I mean?
100%.
But at the same time, it's like it's what you make it in the city.
Yep,
You know
yep.
what I mean? And I think we're still so early in the cultivation of like the entrepreneurship culture or
Right.
like the hustle culture, like you know what I mean? Just people doing things that they're deeply passionate about. That's like a highly niche to them, and just
Right.
having a bunch of people do these things so we can all support
Now,
one another.
do you think that's a thing that's kind of growing with social media, movement towards AI? Do you think that that's like kind of just the future? I mean, well, we can get into like what made you get pushed towards entrepreneurship versus. So you move here, 8 years old, go to
Yeah.
school, yeah.
Go to school. I was doing all that. Yeah, I went to high school at Englemore High School in
Mm-hmm.
Kenmore, and then I went to UW,
Right.
where I got a degree in electrical engineering. And the reason I
yeah.
like picked that was because when I was a freshman, I was like, shit, I'm not going to college, to not do anything with it. At that point, my kind of pathway to success was go to college, get a good degree, and get that coveted, 6-figure like income,
Right.
job.
Just the normal standard kind of like go to school, go to college,
Yeah.
get the job. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then so I googled, what major will pay me the most money, and it was like
So that was kind of where you were going for right away. Just I want some success.
Absolutely. Like that I knew that's why I was doing this. I'm like, why am I putting myself through this torture if there's no like money at the end of this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And but so I did that. After I graduated, I actually worked a few years in the corporate world.
Right.
I worked for Microsoft. I worked for this company called SAP. I worked for this company called Accenture, where our client was T-Mobile.
Right.
So this was up until early 2016. And then I just kind of decided at that point, I was like, you know what, like, I'm done.
How were all those experiences for you?
It was cool. I think
probably learn a lot, grow a lot. Yeah.
No, I definitely understood how like a highly complex, corporate structured environment, flows, and how they're able to like be like a giant that they are. And I think there's a lot of business lessons to be learned from there.
Oh yeah.
And like all these like organizational, like tools and like industry standard
you gained
practices.
a lot of tools and experience, but what was it that kind of made you be like, but there's something more than this, where I kind of want to be in charge of my own fate, like I want to work outside of the corporate thing? What was it that made you kind of push towards that direction?
I think just growing up in America and kind of
land of opportunity,
yeah. like thinking about the American dream, like, and then also growing up listening to hip hop and like understanding what hustling is.
Yeah,
like
that's what I was telling my friends. So like I did music too, and the kind of music I grew up on that I loved, was Metallica and like rock. I still love. It's still they're my heroes. But then a lot of it was rock music. So it's kind of like woe is me. And my pain, and I'm gonna take my pain, transmute it into art, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I do now, like, dude, when I'm in the gym and stuff, all I listen to is like hip hop and rap, because it instills that just like I want to take over the world, like I want to succeed, I want to hustle, so I kind of get what you're saying with that, it puts you in a different mindset. And then I also believe that it's just like everything we read, everything we take in kind of affects our brain and programs it. So I'm like, that's like where my headspace is more now.
For sure. No, for me, like it was a combination of all these like, I guess cultural factors of me growing up here. And then also just seeing that my parents took this voyage like all the way from, like a whole different country, and like they did it so that I could make it here.
And that instilled, you probably have a great respect for your parents in that sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, because that's just a lot. They're trying to build this better life for you and everything. Yeah. And then does that put a little bit of pressure on you then?
I think it definitely did as a kid, and I'm happy that pressure.
But good
existed.
pressure, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that go through similar pressure and don't come out the same way. So I think it's also due to my parents applying like the pressure in the right way. You know what I mean?
Like not overdoing it. Because some people get so much that it almost breaks them.
For sure.
And then they go the other way. Like I never asked for this. I have a lot of friends of different cultures, and like there's certain cultures that. If you're not a doctor, like they might, you're dead to them.
Yeah.
I just want to work in a bar. That's like, what? It's like,
for sure.
Yeah. No, you're not taking over the family business. Like, what the hell? Like, well, I have this dream, Dad. It's like, nah. So I get that. Yeah.
No, but it's been cool. But I decided, so I knew that I was going to college to get this job, but I always knew that job was going to be my vehicle so that I can save up enough money and then start a business. Mm-hmm. And
to make the side thing go. So you're using the income, you're building a base, and then on the side you're working on your own thing, right?
Yeah. And it just became, so I was in the corporate world for like 5 years. So during these 5 years, it just became where I was just like, like just deeply entrenched in this world that I'm in. Yeah, I'm making good money. I got the vacation package, but I still feel like all of my, conscious hours were spent thinking about work. Even when I wasn't at work, there was just like, calls and emails and things that I'll have to like attend and, just handle stuff and emails. And it just felt like I was still like so deeply entrenched in it that I didn't have the capacity to do things on the side. And if I tried to do things on the side, like it would affect like this world, because you know what I mean? Like certain things that I want to do.
I get what you're saying, because like there's always that saying, like, you'll hear people say it, really successful people, like even The Rock says, like, if you're working 40 hours, work those extra hours after work to build something else outside of work. And it's great, and I do believe in that, but there is a thing where sometimes you almost have to like let go and take a risk, take a chance to put your faith in the new thing, because you're at that point where it's by the time you've put all that work into your regular job, like there is limited time outside of that. So I see what you mean. Like if it's constantly, there, and it's like, man, I cannot gain traction on my other thing because this other thing is so big and it's taking all my time. You get home, you're tired, you only have so many hours. So I think there is a point where you almost have to like, I know this is scary, but I need to like, I'm going to cut my hours here so that I can put myself more faith in my own thing that I'm doing, and hope and have faith and know that it's going to take off,
Absolutely. Like, and for me, I kind of, demonstrated that ultimate faith by quitting my job cold turkey and then just diving into real estate without having any connections, like any prior knowledge. Dude. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's like trial by fire.
Yeah, and that's how I did it. Because I knew that if, and mind you, like before, like, doing that whole year, like I was, thinking about real estate. And the 4 years prior to that, I was just thinking about these various different forms of entrepreneurship that I can involve myself with. But then the year prior, it just hit me, you know what? Like, I think I can do this. Right. This seems like, like a product that already exists. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's people that just need to buy. There's people that need to sell. People that need to, lease. And we're always using real estate.
Yeah, there's never going to be a time where like, it's probably a saturated market, but I've heard, there's a thing like you want to be in a saturated market because there's always demand for it. In a sense. Like obviously, there's those like, the blue things and the blue ocean and but like there's always going to be a demand for it. So if you can get good at it, you could be successful in it. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what was it that attracted you to the real estate?
Yeah, so it was, I knew I wanted to get into some sort of business, and a business is a product or service. So I figured, okay, what's the biggest product that exists? Okay, you know what? Like, land and structures on top of land is the biggest product that exists. And kind of applying my, corporate, skills of being like a project manager / program manager, I kind of used that lens to look at this world and kind of like deconstruct, okay, like, what are some ways people make money throughout the industry? And then I kind of got some, strategies just off of reading some books. And it seemed like I could do it. And it seemed like, if I applied, similar principles that I had used in a different world where I'm making, this guy billions, I could, make myself my own chunk in this new industry that I can touch and feel. Right. So that was, really intriguing for me. And at the same time, it just got to this point of like feeling like, if I don't like leave now and try something that I want to pursue, I'm never going to do it.
You felt like you had to jump. Like, it's like, this is the time. I'm putting my faith, and then if you fail, you fail, but at least you took the chance.
Absolutely. Right? Like, and then it hit me like, at this point too, like, I had, paid off my student loans. I had a little bit of, like money to be able to like, spend for living. And I knew that, okay, when that runs out, I either have to go back to work or, like it doesn't, and I just keep going with this.
Keep going. Yeah. And you were able to keep going.
Yeah.
So I heard this stat today that's like in the last year, like 47% of real estate agents didn't sell anything. Isn't that crazy? Like,
I think it's probably higher than that.
Probably higher. So it's like a certain percentage of people are probably killing it, and then other people are having a hard time right now. But yeah, I suppose that's normal though in any industry.
I think it's like with anything. I'm sure there's way more people with like barber licenses than practicing barbers. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not hard to get the license.
The license, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Test,
it's hard to
take the test a few times.
No, anybody can do it. But it's hard to like create like a brand for yourself, create a business for yourself, create that reputation. Right. Demonstrate diligence. Show proof, like all that. I think that's what separates the people that sell as opposed to the people that are just getting the license
and just have it. Yeah. So that's interesting, man. I don't know much about real estate, so it's cool.
I think it's like the most like basic asset class that I think anybody can get involved with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think when you're investing, people invest their money in stocks. They invest their money now in cryptocurrency.
Yep.
But historically, like for as long as humans have existed, they've invested their resources in buying land. You know what I mean? And I look at.
I mean, that's the goal of everybody. If you can own some land, man, you're doing good.
And it's crazy to think that we as human beings have figured out a way to fragment pieces of earth and be like a human being owns that.
It is weird, but
it is. But the crazy part is that exists, and it's like and it's always gonna grow in value because they're not making any more earth.
No, it's there. That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you mean. Like, it's not going to be like some cars depreciate, some go up. You know, like,
Yeah, it's just
it's not
always
like
there.
that. It's always going to be valuable.
Like historically, like just look back, like any like 25-year time period.
And then if you're in an area like this where, you have all this like change and growth in the area, it just makes it even more valuable, right? So
Absolutely.
Like, if you're in a thriving place like this, so that's got to be kind of this has to be a good place to be right now.
For sure. Yeah. It's also it's definitely like got its perks as well as challenges.
Challenges is probably harder for people to afford things right now, but still good because then the value's up.
Yeah.
You probably make more, but it's like nah, man, that's cool. Before we go on talk more about real estate, like I was gonna try to ask you a little bit more about the music thing.
Yeah.
So like when you got into hip hop and stuff, like what you started recording yourself? Did you put some tracks out and everything, or did you ever play live, any stuff like that?
Yeah, so it was always one of those things where it's like, like in high school, when people would be doing like, like lunchroom freestyles and things like that, I was always like, it kind of started there, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
so
then that
improv, you're doing improv like in the lunchroom and stuff, like
yeah, like type shit, but you know what I mean? Like, but just as kids, you know what I mean? Just roasting each other type, you know what I mean?
Dude, totally. Yeah.
And then I always noticed that like amongst my friends, I was always better at like memorizing lyrics and
just you could come up with it on the spot. You could memorize it.
Or if it's like a song that we're all vibing to, like I may have heard it like 2 or 3 times and I know all the
memorizing lyrics
already, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it just kind of gave me a little bit of confidence. And then and then there's just like random like talent shows and stuff that I've just like rapped at in high school. And then it's kind of similar thing in college. And but then in the back of my mind, I always knew that, especially like going into like the blog era, as hip hop heads call it, which is like the 2010 era.
Yeah.
Like the whole online thing started becoming more of a practice. Like now there's like all these artists that just exist like just off the
online.
internet that you could find.
It was changing. Everything was changing.
The dynamics were changing. So it just made me feel like
it just changed so much.
Yeah, so much. And then and all these like different types of artists started popping up, and it just made me feel like, like I have this like natural, passion and talent for this art form that like I want to do something with it. And it was always just this dream for the longest time. And obviously like, just, going to college, trying to get a job in the corporate world, like it didn't really fit the package to also, like be
it's
a rapper.
crazy though, because it's like wild that like all these entrepreneurs that I know now, like Josh, Derek, you, I used to do music. Like it's wild that like all these people also had this other dream of music at one point.
Yeah, no, for me, it's still like, I look at it like this, like when I did all this and then, I wasn't doing, music like that in a way where I was like, putting myself out there and like,
you're not like, oh, this is going to pay the bills. It's just a passion thing.
Yeah. And so I didn't do all that. But then when I decided to, quit my job and jump cold turkey into real estate, I wrote a mission statement, which is Vozhi is a company that integrates real estate investing with culture, music, and technology to inspire positive change in the community. So I kind of looked at myself as like 3 verticals, really. Okay, real estate, that's what's gonna, like make me money and, pay the bills and allow me to, build wealth. Music is gonna be my kind of like spiritual release. You know what I mean? Like, and just my expression into the world. And coincidentally, I think that because I'm gonna do music, there's gonna be more business opportunities that are gonna come my way.
Yeah,
that was kind of the thought I had.
Yeah. It all kind of works together, I think. Yeah.
And the third thing is like, community and, give back to the best of my ability and really, encourage and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the event that we met at is like an example of it. There's other events I run as well.
Right. That was a great event, dude. I was like really pleasantly surprised. Not surprised, but I was like, that probably couldn't have went better. That was so cool.
That was so perfect.
We're talking about, you're just around these other people that have this passion.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feeds your own. It feeds your own spirit. It's
absolutely.
Because, there's so many times like, where you're just around people that just either they've kind of given up on their dreams or they're just not in a place where they're very happy, and you kind of, that's the energy you're around sometimes. Then you get around other people that still have that, just optimism and that belief, that there's something more, we can do something here. They haven't kind of given in to despair or like, you know what I mean? So it's like, that was a cool event, dude.
Yeah, bro. No, it's honestly super inspiring. And like what I said over there, I really meant. It's like the people that are at the event that made it what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody stayed after. Like, you know what I mean?
I know. We could have probably stayed and talked there forever.
I know.
It was like,
Yeah.
I loved it too because like being in the fitness thing, like I had all these people coming up to me, either asking me for like advice on fitness, meal plans, or like sharing their weight loss journeys with me. Like some of the people there, I was like, whoa, like where they started. And I'm
Really?
like, oh, it was so cool. Like the one dude, I forget his name. I feel bad, but he lost like I think 100 pounds in his transformation. I'm like, dude, that is so impressive.
That's insane.
Because it's only going to translate into everything else he's doing too.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
if you have your health. But I like what you said. I like that there's probably a value. Do you believe there's a value in like defining your goals, kind of like writing out your mission statement like you did, and it helps you manifest it in a sense?
For sure. So I remember like what led to that mission statement was this exercise I did called Ikigai. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. It's basically like, like 4 Venn diagrams, and where they intersect is supposed to be your life purpose. I might be butchering it, but the 4 things are, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what your interests are.
Right.
And I pretty much just like took a day to just like write that out, and just I went in with like excruciating detail, and then amongst the center I was like, you know what, these are the things that I want to be like constant parts of my life, and that involved obviously becoming the best business person that I can be, and I'm going to pick this real estate industry for now to use that as my vehicle to get there. I want to make music be a big part of my life and continue to put myself out there. And honestly, I've reaped so many rewards from doing music. It's crazy.
Right. Do you feel like it's just kind of part of your brand too? Then it just kind of helps, like you said, build up the whole brand and everything. It's like,
yeah, I never wanted to be like a traditional real estate agent. In fact, when I started doing real estate, I wasn't even like a licensed agent for like 2.5 years or 2 years.
Yeah.
And there's other ways to do real estate without having a license, and I got my license out of convenience, but that turned into its own income source. But it's interesting because I've gotten clients that have come into my brand because they originally like heard my music first,
right,
and they're just like tapped in,
who is this guy? Okay.
Yeah. And then like someone might just follow me for like 6 months, and then later just hit me up like, hey, I see you doing your music, blah blah blah. My wife and I were looking for this house. What do you think? And then
so it can actually like it can draw you like new clients and new business.
Absolutely, way. And it's cool because the people that I work with, like they know exactly who I am, and it's this I feel a lot of pride in having created this world for myself, where the people that I'm working with and doing business with, they also know me as like fully me.
Like they know you as a person.
Yeah.
They already kind of. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. If you do social media right, it's kind of like, not that there's a right or wrong, but like people kind of know who you are. That's why I try not to like do stuff. Like I shared this post today about like, be careful who you pretend to be, because you become who you pretend to be. So it's kind of like I just try to be like sort of authentic on there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously it's social media, so we're all kind of like, trying to present our best version of ourselves or whatever. But like, I don't know. I try not to take it too serious either.
For sure.
It's like...
You shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, it's just social media, And
Yeah.
then I think you actually I do feel like you get more growth when you're just actually more authentic, versus
100%. Like once you really stop thinking about it and you just kind of just do what it is, and it becomes a lot easier.
It's just social media.
100%. Yeah. Like trust me, this is coming from somebody. I'm actually like naturally an introverted person, and a lot of people wouldn't even think that. But
when you get around an event like that one, do you feel like maybe I always feel like introvert is like, because I kind of feel introverted too, but I'm like an extrovert. But it's also like, if I'm around people like that at that event, I feel like I said, like I'm getting fed.
I get activated, yeah.
Yeah, it's like different. Like if you're around people that don't have similar interests or whatever, it can feel more introverted. Or
True.
Like,
I guess it really depends on who I'm like having a conversation with.
Is it people that are like, energy vampires? Are they sucking your energy, or are they giving you energy? That's the difference, right? It's like, so that's how I think of it. But yeah, was that ever hard with going into real estate, because you have to have like, communication, you have to sell. Like, was that hard being an introvert to kind of...
Yeah, I would say, like, when I say I'm like introverted, I don't necessarily mean like, I think a lot of people associate that with being shy.
You already were a people person.
Yeah, I don't think I was necessarily shy. It's just I I didn't like need to like always hang out, or I didn't need to, you know what I mean? Like just always be around people.
You don't need that validation. You're fine. Like you're chill on your own too. Yeah.
But the skills of like, approaching people, communicating with people, I feel like those were the skills that I brought with me from like my previous life.
Yes.
Coming into real estate that I knew was gonna be like a catalyst to success. The other, the details, like the operating details, the technical details, that's what I didn't have at that time.
So that was where, and how did you have to get that? What was the journey like, figuring it out? You just kind of went in cold turkey.
I did, yeah. So I went in cold turkey. I was watching a bunch of, YouTube videos of other successful real estate entrepreneurs. And the one thing I learned was, like create like a really good network within your local community. Right. So I started, going to like meetup.com, Eventbrite, started looking at a bunch of real estate events happening around the city. And just, started going to these events and started meeting people. So
just networking like crazy.
Yeah, just like I started, trying to like identify myself with the most successful people.
Yes.
And pretty much just asked them, it's like, hey, I'm just starting off. Like I have a lot of, goals and aspirations. Like, how can I provide you value in what you're trying to do? Like, how can I make your life easier? And what are you particularly
and
working
you're
on?
around the people that you want to be like, basically.
Absolutely.
So we were talking about that with like the imposter syndrome and all that stuff. A lot of people get that at first, but it's like, you just almost have to put yourself in those situations and just have faith that, like I do have value to give, and I'm here to learn, and I'm here to like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So then that's like, I don't know, that was so cool, like getting to have those kind of conversations with people.
Oh yeah, man.
Stuff like, oh man, I've dealt with that too, or like
100%.
That's why I love the group too, because it's like you have all these people. It's like, wow, I really relate to that. Or, you know what I mean? It's like, because not everybody knows that stuff because they're not doing the entrepreneur thing. Or
totally. And I think a lot of people go through these things, but they don't even know that there's, like frameworks of thought around it, or that other people go through it too. And then there's like a defined, terminology called imposter syndrome that defines exactly what you're going through.
That same feeling.
You know what I mean? And then, unless you're around other people that, go through it as well, and they're talking about it. Yeah. Like you think that you're the only one.
Where people have the similar things. It's wild, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's very inspiring when you get around other people that are dealing with some of the same struggles that you are and everything. I'm sure that was a struggle too. Like luckily, like, you did it in a smart way where you like saved up money, you got your skills, you got your base from the corporate world, and then you take this leap of faith and you just jump in, and it's like, so you must have had a lot of confidence in yourself at least, or lack of fear of failing, which is kind of, I think, a super important thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a calculated risk because I didn't, know what was going to happen on the other side, but I knew that if I didn't try, it wasn't going to happen for sure.
Yep, and then you'd probably regret it too, like, oh, I never tried that. It would always be on your mind, like, man, I maybe could have done that.
Yeah, and it kind of got to a point where it's like I felt I had, done enough for my family. I've shown them that I can, take care of myself, take care of them. So, and then I felt at this point, I'm, 5 years into the corporate world. Like if I, try this for the next, year and a half, 2 years, and I absolutely fail at it, like I'm competent enough to go back to that world.
You could always get it back.
Yeah. And I felt that, that's what I'm going to do. And if I don't try, then I'll just never know. And, thankfully I never had to go back.
And so what was that first year like? Was it just like learning, trial by fire,
Yeah.
Like...
I always say, I think like when you're beginning the entrepreneurship journey, I think for anybody, the first, 2 to 3 years, it just has to be like brute force every single day for as many days of the year as you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel that because I'm only like 1 year into being a personal trainer.
Oh, yeah.
And have my own business. And dude, there's like already, like people don't even understand, like, oh my God, dude, like you have to have will because it's like always like, I need to go back. I need to get a regular job. This isn't going to work. And you tell yourself, but you don't want to tell yourself that. You want to like tell yourself, hey, I got this. I can handle this. I'm going to figure this out. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out, but I'm going to get it done.
Absolutely.
And dude, it's like that. And so I'm only, like I said, 1 year in. So I'm right in that struggle, that first part, dude. Yeah. And I just had to keep telling myself, like, just keep going. Just keep going. You're going to do this somehow. Like, you know what I mean?
100%, bro. No, I had the exact same, feelings like going through.
I need to go back. Oh my God. Where's this money going to come from? I don't know how I'm going to do that.
No, I think, and then once you start going into like, year 2, 3, like you start picking up a little momentum.
Yeah.
And then I always like, it's kind of like, at that point you're just beginning. You don't have like the knowledge, like the best practices yet. Once you've kind of understood, oh, these are the best practices within what I'm trying to do, now you start applying them, and
so you have systems by that point.
Yeah,
you kind of start figuring systems out.
And I'm still transitioning from now applying these systems to really just making it be a whole operation where I can be more hands off.
That's the next step.
That's the next step.
Yeah, so you get a little more freedom, a little more time.
Like, and then just get into more investing and just focus on doing the things that I love.
Right, because you were just able to go on vacation. You said you just got back, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, so the wife and I went over to LA in Santa Monica. We just got like a hotel near the beach. Just kicked it for a few days.
It's so good just to relax for a while, isn't it?
I know. It's been a minute, so I needed it.
Yeah, you need it. It's like I always like fight against it, but then when I do take a break or relax, I'm like, okay, that was actually good for me.
Yeah.
Because I get that thing where I have like anxiety where I can't relax because I'm always like, I need to make this happen. I need to do this thing. It's like if I'm not doing this, if I'm not working, I'm not. I always tell my friends like, do you want to do this or do you want to go do this? And I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm always like, well, I'm not a millionaire yet. So I feel like I can't. I'm like, I don't feel like I can enjoy things. I don't know. It's dumb, but it's like.
I feel it.
I'm like, what do I have to celebrate? I'm not super successful yet. You know what I mean? It's like, they're like, you're already successful. Enjoy. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I get that anxiety. It's like keeps me going. I like it. It's probably a mental illness, but I think
I
kind of like it, dude.
Yeah, I hear. I'm the same way. It's like a double-edged sword almost because you sometimes like don't know like how to turn it off.
You're like, you should probably see a therapist. I'm like, nah, I don't want to lose that, dude. That's my thing that keeps me going. It's
I feel you. I honestly think like depending on what you want to do in life and where you're at in your journey, that's like either the best possible thing or the worst possible thing.
Right. Yeah, because it's like there's certain people. It's like. I was reading that book on business, and it's like, there's certain people, like, you have to figure out what you actually want.
Yeah.
Do you actually want super success, or would you actually be happier just at this level, more time with your family, doing, you know what I mean? There is certain levels you have to say, like, do I really want this, or would I actually be happier doing less? And and then there's other people where you just have this thing inside where it's like, no, I need to do this. I have to get more. And I don't know what that is. It's something that drives people.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there's really a right or wrong. You just have to figure out what it is what's driving you. You got to do it, So it's like, I don't know. That was in that Patrick Bet-David book. I like that,
Yeah, I love Patrick Bet-David. He's cool.
Oh, dude, I love Valuetainment. Like he's just built such a cool thing there,
He's
like
a beast,
he just did that conference with The Rock. He's got like all these,
nuts.
interesting guests. He's not scared to have like, he'll like interview all these ex-mobsters and stuff like Vinny the Bull and all this and just like find out the real dirt. He's always like finding out these rappers, like what really happened. He'll interview some like, he's got one of Diddy's like old security guards on, like talking, the Diddy shit going on right now. Like, oh my God, that's wild stuff, dude. Like, yeah.
Bro, he's like, it's like honestly, like what he's doing is the goal, bro. Like
it's goals, man.
It's sad. He's got his family now. He's just chilling. Like he's just doing
and
the
like you said, where you
stuff.
You sat down and you wrote all these things out, and you said these important things too. Like it's not just about money; it's about community. It's about inspiring. Like that's why I like Patrick Bet-David, because he's like, there is a moral code there too. This isn't just about success. Like he has a certain, he was talking about, it's like if you don't have that, you can go for a while and it's gonna bite you someday. Like if you don't keep the moral code in there and have some kind of like actual purpose beyond just success, like you're gonna end up like Diddy. He's like you're running wild for so long, and you think he's basically saying you think you're God. He's like that job's already taken. It's already taken by God. So like you can't do it. So like he's like that's where Diddy went wrong. He starts thinking he is God, and now he's in the situation he's in. Which crazy. Is wild, dude. Who would have ever thought?
It's crazy what the ego could do.
It's the ego, dude, unchecked. Yeah. He let it take over him, and he just like, that's so wild. Like watching different people that we kind of grew up with, like what becomes of their life. Like people you never, like even like Will Smith. I never would have saw.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Like Will Smith was like one of the best. We love Will Smith, and then how that all went down and all that too. It's like. Just like if you would ask me 20 years ago, like, oh, Will Smith's always going to be the man. He's never gonna be like.
And now but it's just I also think it's the times we're in too, right? It's like we're getting so much more like personal with each other just because of this technology, social media, and all that. And any moment that happens with anyone, especially celebrities, it's constantly circulated, made memes out of.
wild. Dude, the meme culture is crazy.
It's insane, bro.
Like, you get something happens and there's memes, like, immediately.
Like, within seconds.
Dude, we got other countries, like, pumping fake memes, you know, like, to try to manipulate elections and all. It's crazy, dude. Like, who would have thought meme culture?
Yeah.
You know, it's wild.
It's definitely, you know, crazy times that we're in. Yeah.
It is wild times, dude. Yeah. Oh, man. Like I always say, like, if you would have told me 20 years ago certain things, I would have been like, you are crazy. That's not how it's going to be. But who would have ever thought? Now here we are, and we're, like, living through history, and we're not even aware of it, you know? Like, it's pretty wild, dude, but...
Here, if you love supporting the podcast and or the subscription program, and if you really want to do, this guy a service, make sure you listen to what he's sponsored with. Take advantage of discounts. You know, if you look at manscaped.com, 20% off with the code Nicky Fit.
Yeah.
You know, why not? Why not do yourself a service and clean up downstairs?
Do your balls a service,
dude. You do not want to be looking unkept for your
partner.
partner.
You're talking about, like, hey guys, quit fucking watching porn. Actually, go out and find a real woman. So to start with that, order a Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 and shave them balls up. So
I love the lawnmower,
dude. She's gonna, like, you know, pull it out and it's gonna be all hairy and gross. She's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck is this?"
Clean that shit up, dude.
If they clean up, you should clean up.
You gotta.
You know what? It's the law.
Well, yeah, and you want them to clean up, so you better fucking clean up too,
yes,
bro.
Be presentable, men. Be presentable, men out there.
We love it, dude.
Yeah, no, and then I think, like, November, you know, like, after the election results, like, we'll know, like, the true state of, you know, where the world is going, not just America.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize, like, how big of a moment that is for, like.
Well, because we're America, so we kind of, like, set the tone for a lot of things.
Everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's about to be. It's definitely crazy times we're in. So, you know.
I keep just telling myself, like, no matter what happens, you're gonna be successful. You're gonna still win. You just gotta not, you know, don't worry about it. Like, either way, you're gonna be successful. You know, I do worry about, like, the fallout of it all, because, like, you know, whoever wins, the opposite side is gonna be very disappointed, and is it gonna be like, are we going to get, you know, is it going to become more divisive, more crazy, more hatred towards each other? Or is it going to calm down? Or is it going to...
Yeah, that part is pretty...
Are we going to... I mean, we're maybe in a recession. Is the recession going to get worse? Or are we going to, like... I don't know. I'm like...
Yeah. It's honestly just so tough to say. Yeah. But, yeah, like you said, like, the way I think about it is, like, ultimately, like, there's things I can't control.
They're out of your control.
I'm only going to control what's within, you know, my way.
That's how I look at it. Keep controlling what you can control. You can only control... what you do and how you react, you know, like, that's kind of it. So that was a lesson I think a lot of young people don't, you know, it's expectations. Yeah. And they're always like, I have younger friends, I'm like, but why did you have those expectations? You're hurting yourself. Like, why are you, like, expecting people to act a certain way? If you just stop doing that, like, you can control you and how you respond, but you can't control how they think, how they respond, how they act. So if you keep, like, expecting people to act a certain way that you're unhappy with, like, and you keep getting disappointed, it's kind of your fault at some point, you know, like,
man,
right?
That needs to be, like, preached. Yeah. And people don't realize too, like, the expectations that they get a lot of the times are from, like, their closest folks also.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So but at some point you have to draw the line between what your priorities are versus, you know, there's people that don't, like, ever take action on their dreams just because, you know, they're expected by, you know, their family or their girlfriend or XYZ
to be a certain way.
Yeah, and they just don't do it because they're like, oh, like, you know, if I were to change, then I'm not going to fit the paradigm of what this person knows me as.
Right. So, like, when you went in and you went after your dream, you know, you went into this real estate, was that, like, were you already with your wife? Was she supportive, or was it before, or, like?
Yeah, this is well before, yeah.
Okay, so you met her afterwards, so, like,
yeah.
Because I think that's one thing, people having a partner, if they're not, like, you know what I'm saying, like, that is where it can ruin relationships. Where one of them's like, look, I have this dream, and the other one's like, you're gonna stay at your safe job and you're gonna go to work because we have to do this. Like, don't take a chance, don't take a risk, and then they don't.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's where you want to almost be with a partner that's gonna be like, all right, let's do this.
Trust me.
You know, let's do this.
No, trust me. I've been through a fair share of relationships, like, you know, before I got into the journey, and even before my wife, where it's like, it's hard for, you know, to find like a woman that's gonna understand why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah,
it's like easy to find a girl that wants to go out and have fun and go out to eat and party, but it's like, how do you find one that's like wants to struggle with you? That's the tough part.
For sure.
So I'm like in a point where I'm like, I just need to struggle by myself right now. and make something myself first and then worry about that, because otherwise you just keep ending up with the wrong kind of people.
That's facts, man.
And it's easy and it's fun, but it's also like, for me, I'm just like, I can't do this, like, I don't know. I'm trying to like grow in that sense, you know.
I feel it.
Like the whole one night stand, and it's just, I don't know, you know.
Man, trust me.
It gets old after a while, so it's like.
No, it's. I honestly think it's just better to kind of establish like a base first,
Right.
as a man,
Yeah.
and then like feel like, you know what, I got a base now where I can go any trajectory from here.
Right.
And then I think either a lot of people, you know, like I think honestly the best relationships that I've seen are people that like, you know, get together like super young and they build that life together.
That is cool. That's
You
like
know what I
really
mean?
one of the coolest. I was listening to my coach, my bodybuilding coach. He just did another friend of mine's podcast, and I was listening to it today, and I didn't realize this, but so he kind of beat like drug addiction and everything, and it was weird because he told me like when he said on the podcast when he first, you know, kicked the drug addiction thing, he also did this thing where, because you know it was like parties, girls, drugs, like. He also, so he starts going to church, you know, he does that, he gets saved, and then he's like, you know, cleaned up from the drugs, and then, but he also did this thing where I was like, wow, he said he didn't date for like 3 years.
Damn.
He just like stopped. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give him attention. I'm not going to get sucked into it. I'm just going to focus on building myself, you know, and then he met his wife now, and it's like, that's cool, because it's like, yeah, because otherwise, like, you keep ending up with the wrong people, dude, like, that could just, and plus we're too busy. If you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to build this thing, like, hey, let's go do this, or let's get, it's like, I ain't got time. Like, I'm sorry. I gotta do this. I gotta think about this. I got these meal plans to get done. I got these clients I gotta catch up on. I gotta be up tomorrow morning to go with my first client. It's like, there's just not really time, you know? It's like,
facts.
I mean, you kind of have to make time if someone's worth it. I get that, but it's like, you gotta have your priorities, like.
For sure.
There's that thing where Alex Hormozy like told his wife. You ever listen to him?
Yeah, he's dope.
He's basically like, you're my second priority behind my business. You know, like when they're getting married, I'm like, damn, that's commitment.
Honestly, like I think it does require that level of like transparency and honesty though, because even with my wife, like before we got together, like I told her, I'm like, there's all these things that I want to do, and like. You know,
or like, hey, I'm going through some stuff right now. I'm gonna emotionally need you. I'm really sad. I got this business I gotta go do. You're on your own. Sorry. Like it's like, you know, I need you. Right. I mean, yeah, you're gonna be there for it, but like there are times where you're gonna have to go put out fires. For sure. And you're gonna have to be okay on your own while I go do this.
And it's like what you said. You know, it's what you make time for. You know what I mean, and how you make time for it. And then really like just like in business or like fitness or anything else, there's best practices. And relationships also have, you know, best practices. And like you have to learn that along the way. It's different for each person, obviously. And you kind of have to learn that along the way. And no, I feel you, man.
Well, that's like I get these younger clients sometimes, and I end up being a therapist too, you know, when I'm doing like personal training. It's like I see them like get all hung up on these girls or like, and it's like, just like, I don't know. I try to tell them like, it's kind of like, I think I saw a meme like that, like, if you've been like on red for like 24 hours, dude, like, you know, or on unread for 24 hours, like, you know, she's on her phone. This is the social media. She's seen that message. If she hasn't opened it, dude, you might want to take the hint and just like this is not a tree that's going to bear fruit. Like, go somewhere else. Like the quicker you can like mitigate those things, like realize something isn't going to be valuable or worth it. Like, quit putting your time and effort into something that's not going to bear fruit. It's like,
facts. And
now you can take that into like business too, like how you start like selecting clients, where like, that's a few things I have learned over like the 1 year is like, what's going to be a good client? Can I have like, I need to be not desperate enough for money where I can just say no to people.
Dude, I'll tell you this. I think there's this like direct correlation between a lot of guys, and I've personally experienced this in my life, where like if you're on, you know, like if you're dating in the modern era, you're on Tinder, Hinge, all these like different, you know, platforms like meeting girls, and like say you have all these like matches and phone numbers and things. You pretty much have like a pipeline of leads, really.
That's how it is.
You know what I mean? It's like, and
your phone is full of them, and it's crazy.
Like if you can, and then obviously you have to be like, all right, you know, first date here, second date, third date, like, and you're keeping track of all these girls, and you know, and then. It's like you can apply the exact same skills and be like, you know what, I'm good at this. I'm gonna find these leads. I'm gonna follow up with them, and you know, close. You know what I mean? I think a lot of guys have these skill sets already.
That's so funny, like taking action, dude. That's like I told my friend that, who's like, trying to like, I don't know, she's trying to get married or something, or like find a guy, and I'm like, have you done any action towards it? Like, have you dated anyone? It's like, no. I'm like, you're gonna end up like 40 years old and just still alone because you're not. You need to like do it like an interview process. Just start going on dates, like trying, like if that's what you really want, you know. I'm like, otherwise it's like,
but I don't envy the times we're in.
Oh no, it's very hard out there for people dating, dude. There's even like stuff like, you know, fertility rates are dropping and stuff because people aren't linking up.
Kids,
and, you know, you got like they said like the statistics are like younger women are leaning left more and more, and younger men are leaning right more and more. So then they're not even linking up that way. So they don't even like see eye to eye. So then it's like, you know, they're not getting together on these things, and then you get all. I get really big on the whole like chemical stuff and like all the you know, the poison in food and all that. So that's definitely not helping with fertility rates and hormone levels. Like our country's like really sick, you know, like we have chronic disease everywhere. Like 50% of the population's overweight. It's insane. Like it's crazy, dude. So that's something like that I'm like pretty passionate about, is like I would like to see us try to, you know, I was just like reading about how Japan, like they have like, it's only like 5 to 10% obesity rates. You know, and they start, that's in their culture from a very young age, like health and learning about nutrition.
Apparently they have the best hearts out of like not, I don't mean like metaphorically, like physically, like they have like the best, like the blood vessels are like, you know, like the least narrow. With the Japanese do like their diet.
It's because their diet, and also it's the culture. Their culture instills it. Like even like, I guess like for work they have like physicals, and it's tied to their healthcare system and everything.
That's
so like, if you are like, you know, struggling, like they'll actually give you resources and like teach you like this is what you need to do to be healthier. Whereas like, I don't want to, you know, we're on like the opposite. Like, how dare you tell me that? You know, it's like it's wild.
Give me my double cheeseburger and fries now.
Yeah, it's like you can't even like suggest that I might be unhealthy. You know, it's like,
yeah, it's crazy.
That's shaming. You're shaming.
No, it's crazy. No, I really, you know, like have a ton of respect and admiration for the line of work you're in, because it's like not only are you, you know, building this business that's gonna sustain you, you're also like you know, helping other people reach their fitness goals, and on top of that, you're also doing that to yourself.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it's definitely another thing that I feel blessed about, because you do have to kind of set an example. So when you want to go off the rails a little bit and you want to get lazy, it's kind of, it gives you incentive not to, because you're like, well, I do have to kind of be an example.
Absolutely.
You know, to my clients or just the people that I'm trying to influence. And I think you have to kind of lead by example more so. I think you can, I would say it's hard to like talk people into anything, but you can inspire them like how you live. So it does, you know, and sometimes it's a lot of pressure because you're like, I do want to just have a little fun and relax a little bit, but I really can't, you know, because like I don't feel, I just like set an example for myself. Like I have a certain, you know, it's almost like you just have certain rules for yourself. Like I don't want to dip below this or whatever, you know, you just have standards. You set standards for yourself, dude. Because I was talking to people about like, you know, fitness. Like I said, I have all these clients where it's like, it's funny because like some of the superpowers are like going through a breakup, you know, like that's like where like someone's like, you want the best like pre-workout or you want the best like supplement. It's like heartbreak, you know, because then they're just like determined, like I'm going to show them, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. Or like, you know, maybe it's some people that like, you know, in high school they got made fun of or this, so they have this drive, but it's coming from a place of like, you know, anger, trying to prove people wrong. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a fuel source that's great. You can use it, but it's going to run out because at some point you heal. You know, so you get over the breakup, you get over the heartbreak, you get over the like, oh, somebody made fun of me in school because I was chunky and now I want to be in shape. And it drives you for a while. And then people are like, well, how do you, you know, keep the kind of like passion for it after that? I'm like, you have to set standards. Because I'm like, eventually that emotional stuff is going to wear out and you're going to be healed from it. And then it's like, what's going to drive you? I'm like, you just have to have personal standards that you set for yourself, that I cannot let myself go below this.
Absolutely.
You know, and then that's what drives you. And then it's almost more out of a healthier place than some of those, you know, other places of like trying to prove people wrong or like, which I love that. I think that's a great fuel source for anybody, dude. Like, hold on to that stuff. Like if someone told you you're a piece of shit when you're a kid and you're like, I'm gonna show that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I think that's great. Like people are like, that's not healthy. I'm like, I don't know. Like that can, you look at people like Michael Jordan and stuff. He'd remember these little like, knocks against him from like 20 years ago. And go, I remember that. I remember that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, hey, it's there. It's something you can use. You know 100%.
What I mean? Like, it's a different level of competitiveness. You know what I mean? And I definitely have moments, throughout my life where, like people, who thought I wouldn't do the things that I'm currently doing now. Right. It feels good to be like not like in their face about it, but it's almost like this
success is the revenge though.
Absolutely. But it's this like mental barrier that you unfortunately place on yourself when someone tells you can't do something. Right. And it's up to you to break that. Not only for, them, but for yourself. It's
powerful, dude. Like I just saw that thing where like Lady Gaga shared this thing about like when she was back in high school, like there was this like Facebook group, like whatever her real name is will never be famous. I don't remember her real name. Like
that's crazy.
But like some of her friends, girls can be mean as fuck. But apparently, and she shared like a screen grab of the Facebook group, and it was like, whatever Stephanie whatever will never be famous. And she showed them, you know what I'm saying? Like she really fucking showed them. Like she's insane. One of the most famous people. It's like the little things like that, they definitely drive people. Like, and I always think it's like, are those things healthy? Probably not. But you know what? You got to use what you got, dude.
I agree.
So like you can like you gotta, I don't know. I think that's a good fuel source for a limited time. For
sure.
Use it. Rocket fuel, dude.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's about creating that momentum for yourself. You know what I mean? It's like whatever you got to do, like whatever motivation you need. Motivation is just like fuel. But once that momentum hits in, like now, like it's like self-fueling.
Right. And so that's what you're saying. The first year you had to brute force.
For sure.
It's just all willpower. There's
Absolutely.
and then like once you get momentum, so how did that go down for you? Once you start making a few deals, you start being confident in yourself.
Yeah. Once you start making a few deals, you kind of feel like, you know what, now already, I'm doing better than like 95% of people that are doing this industry. So there's like something to this, and then you start kind of extracting. Okay, what is it that worked in this particular deal? Like if I could reverse engineer, like what
your brain's like making calculations, but you're also like consciously making calculations.
For sure.
I always think with learning stuff, like you're kind of making like subconscious calculations where you're learning. You don't even know you're learning. You're just putting that. They say it's like 10,000 hours to get good at something, right? Like every time you're doing it, you're getting a little better, and it's just kind of seeping into you. But then like I like to go back too and like consciously look at like what could I do better? You know what I mean? Like that too. It's like
and it's just kind of growth along the way. And I think for me personally in my business, it just kind of hit me. It's like my first 3-4 years, it was like, okay, like I want to be successful, and this is what success looks like, and and once I got to a point of like, like I'm doing well for myself, like I have these assets, like I can dress however I want, like drive what I want, like live comfortably. It's like I'm realizing like every year has gotten better than the previous. So it's like now it's less of that brute force and more just applying like the momentum of the brute force that's already in motion.
It started the ball rolling.
Yeah, so the ball's rolling now. Now it's a matter of like strategizing. All right, how can I make this ball roll even faster,
even better,
and have someone or like a team like manage it so that I can create more of these.
Right. That's crazy. You said about like the dress like you want. I think like real estate is one thing where it's like actually like people have to look the part, right?
Yeah.
Like you got like people got to like if you're not successful, you almost have to have a nice car. A nice walk. You have to look like.
In some senses, yeah, I do think so.
I've heard that before. I don't know if it's true.
I think it's like I think Alex Hormozy said this. It's like you're never at an advantage of like dressing where you're at in life. If you want to make more money, dress better. And it's like if you already have made that money, you typically dress down.
Right. I was listening to this other guy. He was talking about like when he was poor. He said, I would once in a while go out to eat at a restaurant I couldn't afford. Because I just wanted to like get a taste of what I want, so it would motivate me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I know I can't afford this, but this is what I want. So that he would go and he would enjoy it, and he's like, I need to get this. That's going to motivate me to like work harder, so that this is the level I want to be at.
Absolutely.
But you're right. Like you almost have to like be overreaching a little bit at
100%. 100%.
You're trying to like. I'm not really up here yet, but I'm going to present myself like I'm up here so that I can get up here,
Absolutely.
So I love it, dude. That's amazing. Yeah. That was the thing with even like pro wrestling, dude. When I used to do pro wrestling,
Oh yeah.
like you got to look the part. Do you look like I mean, are you like wearing ratty clothes? Are you like not tan? Are you out of shape? Does it look like you just been sitting on your couch eating potato chips?
That's
Like
crazy.
you got to look the part, dude. Like you got to like, I am an athlete. I am this. I am this.
Yeah.
And that gets you really far because it's like, a lot of your competition isn't doing that.
No,
They're just
for
like,
sure.
I love pro wrestling. Do you work out? No, but I just want to do, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's like, you just want to like do the little things that are going to take you to that next level up,
Absolutely.
and then you want to get around the people that make you better too. Right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like if you're with wrestling, it's like you wanted to be around like, hey, how do I get to this level? I need to work with the people at that level. And they're going to bring me up. They're going to teach me how to get better,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think at any level, you know what I mean, no matter what industry or, passion that you're in, you always got to just be around people that are doing more than you so that you can understand how they did it.
Right.
And on top of that, inspire yourself to feel like you can do it too.
Oh, yeah, man. It's
You know what I'm
amazing. That's why I love podcasts, too. I'm always like telling people, like, we did not have this access to these great minds.
Yeah.
You were around, like, say I grew up in small town Iowa. You're around just the people in your small town. Like, but now with podcasts, like, I can be in a room with people that are, like, way more talented, way more successful than me and listen to them speak, which gets me to listen to how their brain works. And I can
Facts.
learn all this stuff, dude. It's, like,
Yeah.
amazing. And like you said, like when you got started, dude, like you're watching YouTube. You're getting an
Yeah,
education
absolutely.
for free online.
Yeah.
That's like the time we're in right now, dude. Like you can like basically like get a whole education online if you know what to do, right?
It's
like,
amazing. And I think the thing that separates the people that make something out of the knowledge is like there's this quote. It's like, knowledge is abundant, but like the ability to execute is not. Right. So it's like if you can be that person that's like excited about the knowledge
Right.
and like take it and start applying it and like be excited about more knowledge, take it and start applying it. Like you're already setting yourself apart. That's your competitive advantage right there.
It's cool, dude.
It's such an amazing time we're in. Like you said, it's like I love just watching an interview or listening to a podcast or just watching random YouTube videos of how people are doing things,
Right.
and I pick up just so much game.
It
That's
does,
crazy.
dude. It just picks you up. Like even like I was watching, like I know Andrew Tate's a little like everybody's got different opinions, but he was talking in this one interview about like he's like when I was young I would see these people with these like expensive cars and I'd be like my buddies would see it too, and he's like, doesn't that piss you off? Like I want to know how. Like it just drove him. Like he's like, you're not even angry that you can't get one of those, or like and that's like the difference. Like he got angry about that, dude, and it propelled him. Like, hey, I need to do something. I need to take action. Like I need to figure out what that person has, like what in their mind that they know how to get that, but I don't, and I'm angry that I don't know how. So I'm gonna take sometimes it takes anger to like, make you
100%.
take the action, dude.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you like, and that anger kind of starts with yourself. It's like, why don't I have it already? Why don't I have the mentality for
Right.
it? And you know what I mean? Once you get the mentality, everything else, bro, is just.
Do you think it's a lot of it's like I've always heard that too? Like it's mentality.
Oh yeah.
Like you could take a poor person, give them $1 million, and they'd be poor again. In no time if they don't have the right mindset.
Yeah.
To make that money, either make money or maintain that money. Whereas if you took like somebody that's probably a billionaire right now and you took all their money away, they probably could get back pretty fast.
Absolutely. Like there's a quote that goes, if a person with money and a person with experience walk into the same room, the person with money will walk away with experience, and the person with experience will walk away with the money.
Oh yeah, dude, that's deep.
You know what I mean?
They just know how to make the money.
Yeah, it's just how it goes. And I think you may feel this now already. It's like 1 year in, you obviously have a lot more skill sets and best practices that you've already
Right.
established that you didn't have a year ago. Imagine like a year
Oh
from
my
now.
God, it was I know Alex Hormozi has another great quote about that, but I can't remember it right now. It's kind of like when you begin, you have this like delusional sense of like, you almost have to be delusional a little bit,
Yeah, you do.
And he's like, then you get broken at some point, and then the next time you have confidence, it's not delusional. He's like, at first you have confidence, but it's delusional.
Yeah.
And then your confidence gets broken. You basically get broken. And then when you rebuild yourself, the next time you have confidence, there's something behind it. It's not
Facts.
delusional. Yeah.
Facts.
And I'm like, that I feel, because I definitely had to go through that process, you know, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you just start out, you're all like, you know, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a fitness guy. It's going to be awesome. You don't have no idea. I'll just work with clients and I'm going to help people get healthy. You know, it's like,
Dude, where do you feel like you've been beat up yet?
I think there's been a few times where I've been like, holy shit, this is, I see why most people just go work for other people and never try to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you got to have some willpower. You got to be okay with like times where you can't eat. You know what I'm saying? You got to be okay with times where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. And then you'll have other weeks where you're just like, damn, I just like made too much money that my, you know, the payment apps won't even let me take any more payment. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, it's wild, dude. It's so up and down. And then I think the key is trying to figure out how to make it more steady and more like, so it's not such like great highs and then great lows, you know. It's like,
no, I think like it's best because you're gonna go through that. And
for me, it's client acquisition, dude. You always have to be on the outlook for new clients, you know. And like, I'm trying to expand more into the online world, which is where all, you know, that's where I want to be. That's why I like teaming up with Josh for the stuff I'm doing now. Because I just want to take that and you know, because you got your thing, like you're working with in-person clients is a limit. There's a limit. I only have so many hours in a day. There's only one of me. I can't clone myself, you know?
Right.
So, like, you got to figure out, like, okay, here's the next step if we want to take this up, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So that's a whole nother process, and it's fun. You get to learn things. And
no, I think you're doing it the right way, though, because I if you didn't have the 1 year of experience of, you know, actually training people.
Oh, you got to get in the pit, dude. You got to grind it out. I'm still there. I'm still there right now. That's where the majority of my money, you know? And you just got to do it, dude. That's part of your 10,000 hours. Like, how am I, you know, this is a weird thing that I found. I'll see if you have any kind of similar feeling on this, but one thing I found is like the power to like be bored, you know, to like, it's like just this grind, and it's like, you know, it could start feeling really repetitive. So like, do you have like the grit to just keep going when it's like, you know, kind of feels like the same thing over and over again, but that's because you're getting better at it.
Yeah.
So you're getting so good at it, it's becoming easier, you know? So it's just about putting the time in, and like, you know, it's not always going to be exciting, but you have to like basically you know, kind of weight everybody else that would just kind of give up at that point. Like, oh, this, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Just like the power. I think it's kind of like discipline. It's just like doing things when you don't want to do them or don't feel like doing them. It's just, you have to just do it, you know? It's like,
Like it's like Jay-Z said, you know, like he said in an interview, he's like, the most genius thing that I did was that I didn't give up. You know what I mean?
That's it, dude. That's all it is.
All you got to do is just not give up.
It's not giving up. It's just not quitting, dude. That's the thing. Like, you're going to fail a million times, but it's like not quitting. And then I think it's like being able to fail without having it destroy your optimism. Like, you showing up with this like, I love this. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy. You know, like, and then, I don't know. That's like it's a crazy thing, dude. You gotta always kind of like just keep yourself up there, like up, you know?
100%.
I try to do that with my clients. Like, you're tired, you're this, but you have to like show up and be like, I gotta have good energy today for these people. You know, you gotta like, I want to make sure that like they're getting the best. So it doesn't matter if I'm tired and I really don't want to be here and I have 100 other things I need to get done.
Yeah.
Like, right now, this is your hour that you paid for. I'm here with you. I'm gonna be up. We're gonna make you feel good right now. This is gonna be good energy. You know, maybe you're around bad energy all day at work.
Yeah.
You know, you're not having fun, but like, this energy is gonna be fun. You know, like, we're gonna get you feeling good. It's tough, but that's just what, you know, that's how you kind of got to do it.
That's honestly like, mad respect to you, man, because you kind of have to just ground yourself emotionally, like, no matter what you're going through in your personal life.
Oh yeah, no, you got to be there for those people, and that's you know, and then word of mouth starts taking place, and that's kind of, I'm sure that's what it's like with real estate too. Like, you get, like you said, it's cool that you have people just like follow you that maybe aren't even thinking of you as that, like, oh, they follow you for the music stuff, and then all of a sudden they realize like, oh, there's this other thing he does, and then so like you said, it all kind of ties together and just like almost funnels, you know, traffic to you in a sense, right?
Yeah. And it's, I look at it like anybody can just, have like, just elements of authenticity in their brand that can just draw people in. And once they're in, they see the other stuff you have to offer. I think like you doing the podcast is an example of that. Like you have this whole other avenue where you get to be expressive.
Right.
That's this, brand on its own that's drawing people in. And then that's connected to your.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's related to fitness because I'll have a lot of people on that are either like, competitors, bodybuilding competitors, Muay Thai fighters, jiu-jitsu people, just everybody, man. And then it kind of feeds together because it is a lot of it's based on health and fitness, but also a lot of entrepreneurs I've had on over the years. Like, and then the other weird thing about podcasting is like the connections you make with people. Like I was telling my coach today, there's been numerous podcasts where I come in and I have no idea that like the person has just gone through something crazy or something like really heavy, and it becomes like a really heavy emotional episode. And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even ready for that. And it's like, whoa, man. Like they're like, and I think it's like a lot of people like are going through life, and even though we're the most connected that we've ever been with these phones, people are not connected. And when's the last time they've actually sat down in a room with somebody and they're like, hey, man, how are you?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and they're going through their own problems, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden they feel this like, I can actually talk about my stuff for the first time. It's wild, dude. It's crazy some of the stuff you get from a podcast. Yeah. And some of it's like, wow, man, like I didn't know. And like maybe they haven't had a chance to even speak about some of that stuff, And then they put it out to the whole world. It's some of it's brave, dude. Yeah. Like some of the stuff they've shared, I'm like, man, that's brave. Facts. Like that you're going to go ahead and kind of share that like vulnerable moment with people, and then people can, get inspired from that or learn from it, or maybe they're going through something similar. Like, man, I'm glad he talked about that. So I don't know. That's the cool part of the podcast thing.
That's what's up.
It all works together for sure, Yeah. Yeah, man. What's the next couple years? So you've been in this for what, 5 years?
No, 8 years now.
8 years? Yeah. Damn, dude. So that is kind of why you just want to get it to a more automated state. You want to kind of step back and let it kind of do its own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next, couple of years, I want to make sure that's established. And then, from that point on, just invest into other businesses, like, more development opportunities, just keep making music, do events. Like,
you have some music up on Spotify and everything?
I do, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. We'll have to link that too, because I'll have to listen to that. But like, so yeah, like, do you have any projects with that coming up in music?
Yeah, so I got a few singles that I'm gonna be releasing over the next few weeks. One of them was actually with this artist that I'm super excited about, and I've had the opportunity, being Tamil, and I have this like culture. There's like a whole like movie industry over there, and I've had the opportunity to like make music for a few movies, and
that's dope,
just keeping things
super
going.
Dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, how do you when you do your writing and stuff, man? What inspires you? How do you go about writing? You get a piece of paper? Do you just kind of record it, start freestyling, or like?
A lot of times it's like I just like get on Google Docs, man, and then just just throw
start
on a
making
beat
stuff
and just
happen.
Record a little bit at home, and then take it to my engineer, like record in the studio, like it's just keep refining it until I like it.
Yeah, that's always how I feel like it's like you're shaping it, right? Yeah. I was like, that's because a lot of times that's how I would do it with writing lyrics. Is like I need the music first. And then I have to find something that fits in there, and then we put the words to it. It was weird. So like when I would write lyrics, I would actually like find the structure first, like the phonetic structure, like, and then fill the words in. And they would kind of have to be like, and the words would have to be kind of something that emotionally fits with the music. So it's like, how does this fit? What does this kind of music make me feel? So like, I'm not gonna be like listening to some like, really heavy, like, kind of depressing riff, and then I'm singing about like happy times and puppies over, like it's got to fit the mood of the music or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that's fun. It's like shaping stuff like that, man. Like,
no, I love it, man. It's
and it's like fun. Poetry, like lyrics, like
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll send you some of my stuff. You can bump it. It's like, I just love making. I look at it like I'm just making a soundtrack to my life.
Yep, I'll probably put some of that on my gym playlist to check out, dude. Cause I just love hip hop and rap for that. It's so much more fun, like. Yeah. I still hit up rock once in a while at the gym, some rock music, but I don't know, dude. I just been feeling a lot more rap lately. Actually, I freaking love Kanye. I don't know, like
I love Kanye too.
all
He's
that
dope.
controversy and stuff. I can't have like his
Bro, musically, this guy's
his
genius.
latest albums. We're like, oh, they're not very good. I'm like, are you sure? I'm
Yeah.
like, they sound pretty fucking cool to me. Like, I love the two Vultures, the latest two that he put out.
Yeah.
With that Ty Dolla Sign guy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that stuff is so good. I actually like the second one better than the first one. I was
Yeah.
like, but both are amazing. But I'm just like, I don't know. It seems like he's still kind of like maybe at the top of his game, dude.
No,
Like,
he's musically like
Yeah.
nobody gets near him.
oh, dude, I know. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that whole South Park thing and all that, dude. Like, it's so I was listening to this thing where like the creators of South Park were talking about that when they did that episode on them. We're like, oh, what's he gonna say? And like he surprised them because he wrote this letter and he basically was like, yeah, I think I have been taking myself too serious. You know, like he actually didn't like take offense to it. You know, it's kind of funny. Like,
Yeah. He's definitely a random guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the greats for sure, dude.
Yeah.
So what is like the next few years? So you've been in 8 years. Where do you go from there? And then what other kind of businesses are you like interested in looking into?
Honestly, like I am like very intrigued by, private equity, venture capital, like just identifying, startups that have like future potential and investing in them.
Right.
And then just like bigger like real estate development deals. Like that's
Just
that-
keep
that would be-
growing.
yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody if they're like somebody new, young, and they're like trying to get into real estate? What advice would you give those people?
I would honestly tell them to do the same thing I did, which is go meet people that are already successful in it and
Yep.
ask them how you can provide value to them. And,
Right.
like develop yourself to a person that can provide value some way, shape, or form
Yep.
to these people and just learn.
Yeah, so
along the
much of
way.
it, it's about providing value,
Yeah.
really. Like, you just got to figure out what people need and then solve those problems, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, so like
I
probably.
think that's what sets people, like I think anybody that becomes successful, that's what sets them apart is that they're willing to be humble and go to somebody and seek knowledge.
Yeah, it's like great having a mentor, right?
Yeah. And
I think that's huge, dude. Like you gotta, I feel like there's the thing you gotta have like somebody mentoring you, and then you're working on your own stuff, and then there's somebody below you that you're kind of helping and
Yeah.
mentoring. So it's
Yeah.
like you got all the whole like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's those three levels. Like you're helping somebody else grow, you're growing in yourself, and then you got somebody above you that's kind of guiding you too, man. That's
Absolutely.
like what other like final set kind of advice for success would you give people before we let you go here, dude?
Man, if honestly, like I believe in the concept of abundance. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the biggest, pillars of thought that allows me to continue to grow and know that I have more coming my way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
So abundance mindset
just having
versus
that-
like mindset of lacking.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
if you can, take the entire human population, they will actually fit inside the state of Texas if the state of Texas had the population density of New York City.
Wow.
So imagine like every single human can be in the state of Texas. So like think about all the water, the food, the resources that's available like on this planet that every person could have in abundance.
Right.
That we all have the ability to. And yes, there's systems and industries and things in place that allow access to the regular person, but all of it, like we spoke about, is like available for you to learn.
Yeah, so
And-
you're saying it's out there.
Yeah, it's all
You just
out
gotta go find it, right?
You gotta just take it. You know what I mean? And then,
So action is like the biggest thing, dude.
And then the
Yeah.
other thing is like, I would say, define your own metrics rather than let society define, what those are for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Success looks differently for everybody, and
Right.
define what success actually looks like for you and what you need, and you know what I mean? And then like just like live life off of that. Like comparison is the thief of joy.
Right, I agree, dude. Yeah. All right, man. That seems pretty good for today. Then, if we can let you go, if you got to get going.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you, brother.
I really thank you for being here. If people want to check out your music, where would they go?
It's I'm Vozhi on all platforms, so that's Vozhi.
Yes, sir. And then he's also got social media. We'll have him linked up in there if you guys want to hit him up for anything with real estate and stuff like that. And he's also part of the Lions Den Global group that we're working on with some of my friends. So there's a lot of great value in that if you're interested. But anyway, man, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you, brother.
All right, you guys all have a good day, and thank you for listening.